All right, my name is Ryan Hallak.
Hi, I'm Colin Griffin. I'm CEO at Krumware, and I'm a co-chair of the Platform Engineering Technical Community Group.
Today we're going to be talking about design. Might not be the complete, forefront of a lot of what you guys are doing, design first thinking, and so we're kind of here to let you know how it might be able to benefit you and become a superpower for your platform.
Yeah. A little bit of background for us as practitioners. Our firm focuses on software development first. When we got started about around 10 years ago, we found that as we were trying to develop and deliver cloud-native first software into customer environments, our software was getting rejected because the infrastructure teams, security teams, folks at those organizations didn't understand how to adopt the tooling that we needed or how to provide us back with the tools. So out of necessity, we started to develop the software to provide a layer around our own software to give those people the capabilities to provide us back with an environment that we could use to then ship software. Today, that sounds a lot like platform engineering. But at the start, design has always been very core to our process, to our engagement with customers, regardless of our end customer being somebody internal or a SaaS product or anything else. And participating in the space, we see a lot of challenges related to that. So we're hoping to impart some of that wisdom today, and again, to show how design needs to be in your platform engineering process and be involved, and it really can be a superpower.
Yeah, and kind of getting started here, Colin is my CEO, but with respect, he always refers to design in this instance as UI, UX, and I really don't like that.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, but
make it pretty, Ryan.
When we think about design, we really want to think about users first and their experience. And I think when we say UI, UX, a lot of times it gets a little bit muddied with, are we just talking about making interfaces look pretty? But that's actually just a byproduct of what we're actually doing here. So I'd like to kind of rethink about how we want to talk about design here and make it a case for user experience and really emphasize user experience rather than, sometimes it gets lost when we just say UX or UI, UX. And in this case, the users are our internal teams that are, interacting with the platforms every day. So to kind of get us started here, I'm sure there's a lot of different states of platforms for people in this room. For some of you, there might not be a platform at all yet. It might be something that you're looking to kind of incorporate, but you see the value in it. Alternatively, maybe you have a platform and it's just not catching on for whatever reason. You can't figure out why. So it's not being widely adopted at your company. And then third, if you're lucky, maybe your platform's working really well, but now you're just not sure where to make improvements. The scaling kind of stopped and it's a bit stagnant now.
But Ryan, I'm an engineer. I know everything about all of the things my developers need.
Yep. Yeah, and I get that, but you might not actually know what they need. You might just know how to fix certain problems that they're running into, and I'll kind of touch on what that really means momentarily.
But this is an IDP, right? It's a developer platform.
Yeah, it is, but everybody is going to be involved in this process. So when we think about who the user experience design really is going to help, it's going to be everyone. And don't only think of it as developers or platform engineers. It's actually going to help me too as a designer, getting my hands dirty and just understanding the inner workings of a platform. Product managers are also going to be really pleased when they are brought in on these discussions and they kind of understand a lot better how things are being built. So no, it's actually not just for you as an engineer or a developer, but it's for all of us, and it's going to make collaboration a lot easier within the company. So, one thing here you might be thinking, well, what's the actual benefit of investing in user experience design? Because frankly, getting buy-in just for a platform and getting resources put towards a platform is already difficult enough. So trying to bring in additional resources for design might seem like an even more difficult task. But there's actually a ton of evidence that supports bringing design into any product development. And I know a lot of us talk about platform as a product. But if we really mean that by talking about platform as a product, shouldn't we treat it like a product and apply the same mindset towards our platform that we would a consumer-facing product like a mobile application?
So you mean to tell me that these numbers are tried and true and tested with millions of product development processes across the world? This isn't specific to platform engineering?
Yeah, that's correct. And frankly, a lot of these numbers will probably be increased for an internal platform. So taking a look at a few of these, increasing adoption by 25%. Right off the bat, I think that's something, whoop, lost the, all right, I don't know what just happened. But yeah, right off the bat, 25% increase in adoption is something that I think nobody would complain about.
That's like right away?
Well, it's something that you'd want to work towards, but it can be 25%. Also, reducing onboarding time. And when we think about onboarding time for any new hire or a new platform that's trying to be adopted by your company, this is going to be a crazy sink of resources and time from employees. So reducing that time is a massive cost and savings. And then lastly, just product development time, which is really a lot of what all of this is about, just reducing time to development. And there are a few different reasons for that. A lot of them are kind of a systemized approach to design, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit more later. So the lesson here is that it doesn't matter if your platform's brand new, it doesn't matter if it's broken or if it's actually working pretty well already. Increasing investment in design is going to help each of these platform types grow. So let's get into actually understanding user experience design, especially in the context of platforms. This right here, the top row, kind of empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. This is the design process. And this is what the largest tech companies in the world use to create consumer-facing products or B2B products. But it's something that, for whatever reason, when we're creating a platform, we don't really pay attention to at all. So let's start with empathizing. Traditionally, we conduct user research, gather data, different insights to understand exactly what our users want. But for a platform, really all we need to do is speak with team members that are going to be interacting with the platform and gathering insights that way. But really, at its foundation, we're doing the same thing both in a traditional sense and a platform sense, in that we just need to empathize with our users. I was creating these slides, and I really wanted it to kind of look pretty and have 5 traditional and 5 platform kind of stacked on top of each other. But the reality is that they're actually so similar, these processes, for a traditional product and a platform, that for define and prototype, you'll see that it's actually just the shared, it's the exact same process. When we're defining our problems, we need to compile these needs and synthesize all of our findings from the empathize stage. The way we synthesize this data might look a little bit different. So, for a big product, we might have whiteboards and Post-it notes stuck all over the walls of the office. I'm not expecting any of you guys to kind of take this that far, But I will say definitely catalog your findings so that you have somewhere to go when you're trying to roadmap or prioritize what comes next in the process.
But do we really need to spend all that time on that? Like, you're making this for me. I already know everything about what I need.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to get to, is the bias that we have, specifically you have, as a platform engineer, in that you do have a really good idea of what a lot of these problems are. But the idea with empathy here is to actually think about not what you've run into in the past and the problems that you face, but the problems that a day one junior engineer is going to face when they're trying to complete a simple task. The third step here, ideate, and this is really kind of touching on what you mentioned as well, where ideating a normal product is going to be trying to figure out what users actually want in an application, whereas I would say for a platform, focus more on what your existing assumptions are and try to generate new ideas. Don't fall into the trap of just designing for yourself, because you're not. You're designing for different teams and different people. For prototyping, again, I couldn't really identify a massive difference between traditional and platform. It's really going to be kind of the same process where you just want to rapidly create solutions with as little resources as you can. And one really nice thing about this is it's going to facilitate the conversation within your company of just getting people excited and ready to buy into your platform. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone there. And then lastly is going to be testing. Usually, for a traditional product, you're going to send out a beta and get a ton of feedback, and the data you're going to get back is going to be extensive. But really, when you're testing your platform, all it is asking questions, buying them coffee, just having a discussion. Don't tell them to use the platform. Don't force them to use it. Figure out why they're not using it. And that's where a lot of your answers are going to lie. I wanted to touch on this quickly because it's really why follow this design process, and specifically for a platform. It's going to be user-centric, and going back to what you said, that assumption that you have all the answers already, you just need to find the time to put them into, get them built and get them out. That's actually not the case. If we want it to be user-centric, we actually need to speak to everybody using the platform and assume that whatever answers we have are probably incorrect or insufficient. The efficiency of using the design process. I'm actually going to jump back to the previous slide really quick because the reality is you're going to do all 5 of these steps. You're going to have to empathize. You're going to have to define a problem, ideate, prototype at some point, and also test your solutions.
But are you telling me I'm going to have to do all this now? You're going to create all this work for me from this slide deck?
Well, you're actually already doing all of this, and on top of that, you're probably doing all of this backwards. And so that's why we want to follow this process of going from empathize to testing.
So not if you build it, they will come?
No, not if you build it, they will come, because you're really going to, if you start with testing and you have these solutions in your mind to fix problems that you're assuming are going to exist, you're just going to take a longer time. It's going to be a more roundabout way of getting to your solutions, and it's going to be a less clean solution. So third, we have higher quality, and that kind of goes hand in hand with what we were just saying, where you're going to create a better product if you just follow this process. And lastly, this one is really important, specifically for platforms. You need to be adaptable because once you put out an update for your platform and people aren't necessarily using it, the usual gut reaction is, well, we need people to start using it, so make it a policy. Force people to start using it, and that's when people start pushing back and you have headaches. But if you make your platform adaptable and you follow this iterative design process, you should have no problem gathering that feedback of why are they complaining, why do they dislike this so much, and just make those adjustments.
We gotta go fast.
So this is kind of one thing that we have spoken about quite a bit is the assumption gap. But just to visualize it, this box kind of on the top right here is Colin's assumptions of what needs to get done for the platform. And everything in that pink box is what we need to know. And you'll see that there's very little overlap. And to solve that problem, we could just conduct user research, and we'll see more overlap of what we need to know and what Colin knows. Understanding through the design process, so kind of going back into just how we want to get this, get information back to us. And really, it's going to be casual conversations and talk to your developers, even the juniors, buy front-end engineers a coffee, have lunch with your senior architects. Again, we want to remove any bias we have by getting information from other people.
So I'm going to have, again, this is just more time for me. I'm going to have to go buy people lunch.
No. So I, as a designer, do this every day. I talk to people. I learn about needs of users, and sometimes it's something that I'm not informed on.
It's almost like it's your job.
Yes, it is my job. And so getting this information from users, whether it's from a software engineering team who's using a platform, or a fleet of truck drivers for a truck application that I'm designing a mobile app for. It doesn't matter. I'm getting information from these users to figure out what they actually need. And I'm also doing it without bias because I'm not a software engineer, so I'm not going in assuming what they do or don't know.
We got 5 minutes.
And also, one thing I want to touch on, I'm already in the trenches with your customers, which we'll refer to as your software team.
So can you be my hype man? Can you get them on board?
I might be able to. Probably pretty easily if we really listen.
We gotta jump.
So our typical approach, just treating, really I want to just touch on this, but treating a platform like a actual product, a product company. Normally a traditional company will have research teams, sales and marketing teams, sales, everything, just trying to get feedback, adoption, and R&D. Design can really help with all three of these things if you just let them involved in the...
So I see these are like the figure it out strategy.
Yeah.
So you mean actually take a prescriptive approach?
Yes.
An intention, okay.
Just like this. We want to allow your design team to conduct their research, create a product so good that it actually gets adopted by your teams, and complete iterative designs so that we continue growing them. And just kind of touching on the powers. So one thing that positive design will do is it will get quicker adoption. We've touched on that already.
Yeah, this is from the platform maturity model, just as an example. If you want to shortcut that adoption lifecycle, involve design early. If I can let you advocate, maybe they'll feel like they built it with us.
There you go.
And they'll want to use it, and they'll trust it. That's an interesting concept.
Exactly. One thing I want to talk about here is just the investment of different stages within the design to development lifecycle. $1 spent on design is normally saving $10 spent on a change that's happening during development, and then if it actually gets pushed out, it's usually about $100 for that $1. So catching a mistake early during research is going to be the cheapest. Catching it once it's actually out and in the world or in the hands of your software teams is going to be by far the most expensive. Also, multi-team collaboration. This is something we've already spoken about, but making sure that your platform team is run like a product. It's going to get other teams like product managers, researchers, designers like myself excited and involved in the platform engineering process. And then a quick bonus. I had to do a quick attack on Windows 95, but
is that my AI agent?
no, so this, if you really want to create a better user experience, you're not leading with making it look pretty, but it will be a byproduct of what you're doing, and I think that's important to note.
And I can just trust you with that and focus on what matters to me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then for you to kind of start implementing this, tomorrow, I would say the first thing to do here is find a shared initiative that everybody within your organization can get involved in. Don't just have your platform engineers working on something and then in another silo have designers trying to figure out what's even going on. Find one initiative that everybody can get behind, get excited about. And you can think component systems, documenting processes, but it doesn't need to be so drastic. This is the Uber component system that they use for their applications. Just start with one little piece of it, and it will grow from there. But just do it in a systemized approach. Also clarifying the scope of the platform. And Colin, you might want to speak a little bit more on this one.
Yeah, one thing that we've learned, and there's always a lot of questions about like how big my platform needs to be, how many teams it's going to touch. It's got to start somewhere. And you just need to define what that scope is so that you don't take on too ambitious of a project for a platform build, but start with something small, even if your platform today is just a CLI, right? Start somewhere and then help it grow.
This is actually my favorite. Give it a name. Platform a name. I was telling Colin last night, my wife has all of these houseplants, and they kept, unfortunately, dying. She wasn't super informed on how to take care of houseplants at first. Then she started naming them, and now they live forever. She gets attached to them. So what I would say is name your platform, and people will care about it more. People will take pride in it, and it just gives it an identity that people can get behind.
Yeah, create your product team. So one thing that we talked about is like throughout the process involving many different teams, right? Well, what about curating that and continuing to maintain that, right? Like being able, if you can take some of those users and build a council of folks that are representative to have enough crossover of your users, the providers, the consumers, everyone who's going to participate in this process, then you'll be able to maintain and continue to develop that platform in a way that everybody trusts, and you won't make those $100 mistakes. So the build versus buy as well. We see a lot of teams trying to just build everything from scratch on their own. That's usually a terrible idea. Now, for the larger companies, you can do that effectively, but I think the key is involving the teams that will be the consumers early and finding ways to build contributor pathways so that they can participate in the development and help grow it. Like we've been talking about here, I don't have the capability of doing all of this project management and going and doing the user research and making things look pretty and everything else. We need to find ways early to get additional resources and to build our team. What a better way than involving other teams in the organization that may also be consumers. That also means they can't complain as much if they don't like something, because they helped build it. So that's helpful too. But these are, if you take a screenshot of this, these are some of our key pillars that we've come up with to make sure things are open, extensible, based on standards. And those are some guiding principles that you might be able to use in the build versus buy. Now, just a couple of examples of that too, and these are kind of polarized, but I think we would love to see more of this in the ecosystem and maybe a CNCF project as well. We really like Rancher. Rancher has an extensibility component for it. It comes with a storybook, components, everything. You can build your own Rancher. A lot of people don't realize that, but it comes with all the foundational capabilities underneath, right? Or you can go the complete opposite direction and try to build everything from scratch on vanilla Kubernetes with Backstage and enjoy that. But for both, there are mature component systems and kits of parts that you can start with, and then you can choose which one is better or other similar technologies and use that to drive your strategy.
And that's all we have. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and come find me around the conference if you do have questions on first steps or maybe final steps if you're already along this process. I'm always happy to talk about design.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. We hope that you're able to take some of this away, but we hope by involving your designers, you will help your platforms look pretty too.
Yeah, thank you.